Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, where we believe coaching solves everything.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the I Love Coaching podcast. I'm your host, Adam Roach. And today is going to be kind of a tough conversation. It's going to be a conversation about what are some of the challenges that I see of incoming coaches into our community, or just in general. What are some of the bigger problems that coaches have when either launching a business, growing a business, scaling a business, or even exiting a business? So that's what we're going to talk about today on this podcast. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk about the coaches who are transitioning from, let's call it a survivor job, right? So I see many coaches coming into our community from a past career or a career that they're still doing. And they're coming into the coaching space because they like the idea of coaching. They want to have a different stream of income, another vertical income. And they think coaching is going to be that for them. And for some or for most, it is. The number one challenge, though. The number one challenge that I see when coaches step into the space, let me rephrase that. Let's go back. When a civilian steps into the space of wanting to be a coach, right, is what? Number one, very simply, imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is real. Gosh, is it real? It's so fascinating to watch too, because I'll bring in coaches literally from any and every walks of life. Rephrase that. We're going to use the word civilian before the word coach. I'll bring in civilians who haven't launched a coaching business yet, and they are so excited to get this coaching business going. I'll take them through our real coaching blueprint, which is nearly 100 pages long and 5 elements to it. And when it's time to take action, here's what happens. They freeze. They freeze. Why do they freeze? Here's what imposter syndrome is. It's yesterday's patterns of thinking. Imposter syndrome is yesterday's patterns of thinking that you have been conditioned to believe. Are they true? No. One of my coaches, my personal coaches, says this to me all the time. Worry. What is worry? Worry is just a waste of your imagination. So when imposter syndrome is kicking in, you are worrying about one of 3 things. It goes like this. Number one, you're worrying about judgment. You're thinking, gosh, what are these other people going to think about me? The judgment component is real. We've all grown up in a, not wanting to be judged space, right? Am I right? Yes. Or maybe it's just me. I don't want to be judged. Right now, you're listening to this. Am I thinking about what you are thinking about me? Maybe it's crossed my mind, though I do care what you think, but I can't control it, right? That's what I teach my kids all the time. You can't control what other people are thinking or doing. So judgment, it's quite frankly, to overcome judgment, it's none of your business what people think about you anyway. So that's number one, right? In the imposter syndrome space is judgment. Number 2 is rejection, the fear of rejection. Let's be honest though. I'll just talk as a man, rejected the majority of my life. And maybe that's just me, though rejected in many different ways, right? I've been rejected. I've been a recruiter for most of my life. And have I been rejected? Probably more times than accepted in the recruiting space. Rejection of what about in life, right? In relationships, remember being a teenager and asking a girl to a dance and getting rejected. That never felt good. So that's an ingredient in the imposter syndrome. So how do we overcome rejection? Well, if you listen to my Who is Adam Roach podcast, you know that I'm a spiritual guy. And so one of the things that I think about in the spiritual space as it relates to rejection is they're just not part of God's plan for me. Right? So if someone rejects me, that's okay, right? They're just not part of the plan of my greatness, and that's okay. That's God's way of protecting me by them rejecting to come into my world is the way that I look at it. Let's go on to the third and final ingredient when it comes to the imposter syndrome. The fear of success. The fear of success is real, though the fear of success is quite simple, actually. Because when we think about fear of success, if I've had one coach come into my community, I've had hundreds of coaches come into the community, and when we talk about the fear of success, they say, Adam, explain that to me. Well, here's the thing. A very simple blanket statement is, are you where you want to be right now? At this waking moment, are you where you want to be? From a financial situation, from a relationship situation, from a spiritual situation, from a health and fitness standpoint, are you where you want to be? And if the answer is no, what's causing that? I'll share with you what I believe is what's causing that, is you have no vision in that space. You have a lack of vision. You might have some vision, but remember, there's a difference between vision and goal. Let me give you the vision statement for the I Love Coaching Company. It goes like this: to empower coaches to change and serve 100 million people by using our real coaching method, right? That's a vision statement. So if you don't have a vision in the space of health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, giving, leadership, whatever it may be, and you don't have success in that space, or at least define success, then you are afraid of success, right? So you have to unpack, number one, what is the vision in each one of those? What is the goal? Now here comes the kicker. And what is the reward? The goal is not the reward. Sure, that feels good when you achieve a certain number, or you achieve a financial status, or you achieve a weight status, or a body mass status, whatever it may be, right? A giving status. Though at the same breath, what is the reward for doing that? I'll give you another example of a personal coach of mine. This individual has gone out and Dan Martell, if you know him, go follow him. He's an incredible coach, an incredible leader. He went out and was working in the fitness space on himself and had a goal. And I think he called it, what did he call it? Project Visible Abs, I believe is what he called it. And he had a reward when he got to the point where he could see his abs. And then he got to the point where he had a reward, which was he had to get to a certain body fat level and then a lean muscle mass level. That was the goal. The reward for that was he got a Ferrari Pista. That was the reward. So the goal was different than the reward, and the goal and the reward was different than the vision, right? What was his vision? His vision was to be able to do it for himself so that he could go share it with the world and impact thousands, if not millions of other people to do the exact same thing. So when it comes to a fear of success, that's easy to overcome by understanding what is your vision, what is your goal, and what is your reward? All right, let's unpack this all now together. So we start at the top here with understanding what is the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is stepping into a space and you feeling that you don't have what it takes specifically to be successful in whatever that vertical is. And for this conversation's sake, we're talking about coaching. And when you unpack what that looks like, you have a fear of rejection, you have a fear of judgment, and you have a fear of success. Now, I unpacked how to overcome those three. Now let's do this. When you want to overcome the imposter syndrome, I think it's pretty simple also in these two things. Number one, you just got to start. You just have to start down a path. So if I'm coaching a coach and they have imposter syndrome and I can see it, I can smell it, I can taste it, you can watch imposter syndrome show up. I have a coaching client that I just got off the phone with, off of Zoom with, and we call it his middle schooler. When his middle schooler shows up, that's his imposter syndrome showing up. And the middle schooler, well, the middle schooler is arrogant. The middle schooler is insecure. The middle schooler is fill in the blank, though it stops him from taking action, or it shows that he's just inauthentic, right? So number one, you have to just start. Just go start. Number two, to overcome imposter syndrome is not only do you have to start, you got to go surround yourself with people and tell them exactly what you are doing to accomplish your goal. So one of the things that I share in the Real Coaching Blueprint in what we call the embark stage is the component of a 14-day mental challenge. And the first 3 days of this 14-day mental challenge as a coach, number one, is to share with your family that you are being a coach. Share with your family. You have an affirmation. I give you an affirmation, and then you have a daily actionable read. Number 2 day in the mental challenge is share with your peer group that you are becoming a coach. Do your affirmation and do your read. The 3rd day is share with the world that you are stepping into the coach's space. Because to overcome imposter syndrome, not only do you have to get started, but you have to share it with other people. Share it being whatever that vertical is that you're stepping into. In this case, it's coaching. And lastly, here it comes. This is the big one. So if you're driving, stop and you want to write this down. The last one, don't stop. Don't stop. When that past pattern of thinking kicks in, you have to be, I had a coach one time, a personal coach of mine, Dr. Kelly Flanagan. He was my relationship coach. And he shared with me, Adam, you have to be aware. You've got to be at the highest level of consciousness to truly be able to see where you are at any one given time. Now, that went way over my bald head in the beginning, but now I really understand what he means. So what the highest level of consciousness is when you are in the space of starting something new, sharing it with the people around you, and then not stopping, your past patterns of thought and behavior will attempt to stop you. There's a book, I'm going to butcher the title, though it is Be Your Future Self Now. I believe that's what it is called. Be Your Future Self Now. And here's how that works. So the highest level of consciousness goes like this. You have present day Adam. That's me right now. You're hearing me. This is present day Adam. Though my thoughts and my patterns of behavior and thinking are yesterday Adam. Those are Adams that have been conditioned, have been behavior created, have been thought created. And while that is who we are, future Adam doesn't want to have those thoughts and or behaviors. So one of the things that Dan Martell has coached me to do is you have to kill a version of your past self if you want to move forward into your future self. So is your today action protecting your future self or punching your future self in the nose? I'll give you an example of this. About, where are we at here? About 35 days ago, I did a 16-day cleanse. And on the menu of the 16-day cleanse was coffee. I had to drink coffee. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker. I have nothing against coffee. I just don't like the taste of it. I really don't like warm drinks anyway. And on the menu was coffee. And not only was it on the menu, it was like on the menu almost sometimes with 3 meals. So I had to drink coffee for 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yuck. And as I was reading the menu, my past behavior of thinking was instantly, you don't drink coffee. You don't drink coffee. And so that then took my present Adam and it actually manipulated my thinking because I stopped thinking about future Adam. So why was I doing the cleanse? I had a vision, I had a goal, I had a reward. However, my past Adam was telling my present Adam that you don't drink coffee, so therefore future Adam could not achieve the vision, the goals, and the rewards. So I had to have the highest level of consciousness. So when I was doing this, my fitness coach said, let me ask you a question. Are you going to do the cleanse? I said, yep, I am. I said, but what can I change out coffee for? Past thinking, right? And he says, let me ask you another question. Are you going to do the cleanse? I said, that was a question you just asked me. And the answer is yes, I'm going to do the cleanse. He said, well, if you're going to do the cleanse, you're going to drink coffee. I said, yeah, but I don't drink coffee. Can I change it for black tea? He says, I'm going to ask you one more time, and I'm not going to ask you nicely this time. If you're going to do the cleanse, you're going to do everything on the cleanse that is exactly as it's written because it's written in a specific way. So if you're going to do the cleanse, don't ask me again if you're going to drink coffee or if you can change out coffee. I said, fine. So it was at that moment in time I had to realize that the highest level of consciousness for me was to drink coffee and kill the past Adam that believed he didn't drink coffee to protect future Adam through the cleanse process so that I could achieve my vision, my goals, and my rewards. All right, let's go all the way back now. The third thing to get past the imposter syndrome is what? Not to stop. When your past patterns of behavior kicks in and you are at the highest level of consciousness, you can actually kill that past version of yourself and say, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to protect future, fill in the name, fill in the blank, right? Did I drink coffee? I did drink coffee. Did I like it? There wasn't a chance in heck that I liked it. So here's what I did. This is just a fun little story. When it said coffee, I drank decaf and I brewed it. We actually have here in the I Love Coaching International headquarters, which is where I am right now, is we have a coffee machine. I never drank coffee before. And so I put in like the little K-cup and it took me a long time to figure out how to brew it. And then I brought a bunch of ice with me. And as soon as it was brewed, I'd pour it over the ice and I would just smash it like it was a cold cup of water and just choke it down. But I did it. 16 days worth of 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 meals of coffee. I made it through. And guess what? Future Adam showed up in a much bigger, better, faster, stronger way because I killed past Adam and the imposter syndrome went away. Okay, so we just had a conversation for almost 20 minutes here on imposter syndrome. That is the biggest challenge that I see that coaches have, well, civilians have when entering into the coaching world is removing the imposter syndrome. It takes time. It takes work. And with that being, I'm not going to give any more. I think that's simple. I think you need to work on your own imposter syndrome feelings, thoughts, lack of actions right now in any specific space that you are attempting to grow in. So if I have my coaching hat on and I'm talking to you right now, here's what I would suggest that you do. Yes, you right there listening to this, you driving, you watching this on YouTube, whoever you is, I'm talking to you right there, is I want you to do this. I want you to think about what goals you have, right? Health, wealth, relationship, spirituality, giving, leadership, whatever vertical you want. Think about what goals you have. Write them down on a sheet of paper. Okay, write them down on a sheet of paper or on your phone, whatever it is. Take one vertical and write out a goal. Number one. Number two. Now, when you write out that goal, I want it to be a big goal, and big is relative. You can define whatever big means. Big is your next level of success. Now, here's what's going to happen. As soon as you write that down, your imposter syndrome and your limiting beliefs are going to kick in. And when those kick in, I need you to be aware of what they are and write those down as well. Okay, so step one, write down your goals. Step two, write down the limiting beliefs. Write down the imposter syndrome thoughts that are coming into your head. And when you write those down, now you're going to create clarity on what those are. I don't deserve it. I've never achieved that. I can't do it. I've never done that before. Whatever it is, write it all down. Once you have clarity on what they all are, to the right of that language, write out a solution, right? What's a solution, Adam? A solution would be, the limiting belief or the challenge could be, I've never done it before. Great. Solution, go find someone that has and lean into them and see what they have to say. I've never made $1 million before. Trust me, you'll go find someone that's made $1 million. I've never lost 30 pounds before. Trust me, you'll go find someone that's lost 30 pounds. Once you find those people, then just lean into them and start talking to them. So that's one idea. Number two idea as it relates to solutions is, what can you read? What podcast can you go listen to? What resource can you find that'll help give you patterns and steps to ultimately achieve your goal? Okay, so we have your goal. We have your limited beliefs and your thoughts, your negative imposter syndrome thoughts. Now we have on the other side of this solutions, so that when those thoughts do enter your head while you're going through the process to achieve, you can actually go lean into those solutions, and now you don't have a reason to stop. Okay, speaking of stopping, I'm stopping right there. That is how to overcome imposter syndrome in 20 minutes. So here's what I want you to do. If you like this, great. Like it, leave a comment. Tell me what you liked about it. And because we're going to have a lot more podcasts coming up. I'm super excited for this. This is going to be a great series of podcasts in the coaching space. Not to mention, we have, what do we have coming up? Here at the I Love Coaching Studios, we have, I'm going to have guest coaches come into the podcast, which is going to be really cool in a couple of weeks. And next week, or the next podcast I'm going to be doing, is all about more coaching solutions to make 6 to 7 figures as a coach. So that's all I have right now. You guys take care, be well, and I'll see you on the next podcast. See you, bye.